All right, what's going on, everyone? I just got to adjust where I'm going to stand here, or sit here, I guess. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. Let me just check here, make sure my mic is good. Let me know how the volume is. If it sounds good, just let me know in the comments. Let's see here. All right, got a bunch of people in here tonight. What's going on, everyone? Zeke, what's up? Liquid water. Doing the most. What's going on? Matthew. Aiden, Flyers fan. What's going on? So I am home. Obviously, I'm home. I've been home the last 2 days, including me. Laura says I'm faking it. I'm not really faking it, though. So she's starting to feel a little bit better. And my son's hacking a little bit. My daughter was sick, and she's doing a little bit better now. So, but I am stuck in the house. So, hello, Mark. Hi, Christy. Jim, what's going on? Hey, from San Diego. What's up? Do I think Tom's coming back? I don't know. It's a sad day when Tom's gone, but I think he might be gone for good this time. Although I don't know, he might get the itch again in a couple of months. Tips on seeing the ball better. So uh, there's a lot of things that you can do as far as seeing the ball better. Biggest thing I think is just is training. Not just seeing the ball, but making decisions, swing decisions, really, and you can do that by tracking pitches in practice. So watching a pitcher throw a bullpen, standing in. But what we do actually is I have a little tool. It's like this small little bat. It's not really a bat. It's a small little thing, and we have players swing it, and they can't hit the ball with it. But that way, anytime a guy's throwing a bullpen, you can stand in, you can make decisions whether you're going to swing or not, and not actually hit it. So that's a really good way. Getting live at bats obviously is a really good way, but I think the best way is just tracking pitches from a pitcher. There's a lot of other ways you can do it, but those would be the best way. Video game Matt's been away for a while. I've been super busy. This is like the crazy time of year for me, which actually stinks that I'm sick right now because this is when we have a ton of stuff going on. I've been working basically every single day. At what age should coaches start developing position-specific personnel? So you're talking about like specializing in certain positions, I think is what you mean. So we tell our players the more positions they can play, the better. There comes a point when we do add what we call pitcher onlys, and that's usually not till players get a little bit older, usually 16, 17 years old. So I think you want to play as many positions as possible, but there comes a time, especially for pitchers, when they get into probably sophomore year of high school, junior year of high school, when they know, if I'm going to play college baseball, it's going to be as a pitcher, and they can start specializing in that. But if they're a position player, I try to play them as many positions as possible. There comes a point, again, obviously, depending on the level of play, where you're really good in the infield, we're going to play in the infield. Now, you're really good in the outfield, we're going to play in the outfield. If you can't play infield, you're not playing the infield. So where should your chest be facing at the point of contact? So if I'm turning to hit, my chest, it depends a little bit on pitch location. The more away the ball is, the more kind of closed my chest is going to be. The more the ball is in, the more I'm going to be slightly turned. So it does depend a little bit on pitch location. But you want to make sure, I don't want to feel like my chest is completely facing, the pitcher, because I'm hitting the ball back here. So I'm always going to be, my chest is going to be probably slightly towards like the second baseman almost. But again, it really depends on where the pitch is located. Advice on how to get some throwing in the middle of winter. Yeah, so take advantage of the warm days that you can go outside, obviously, but indoors you can really just set up some type of net. I used to take a mattress, not a mattress, like a bed sheet, but something probably a little bit thicker, and I would like pin it up in the garage and throw into it. So, but now you can, buy some type of net. You can just throw into the net and just kind of visualize, a player moving back. You can get your long toss in. If the net's high enough, you can start to throw the ball a little bit, put some air under it. And then envision them starting to come in, and you're going to start to transition from throwing the ball long and kind of loose with your arm to then starting to pull down and throw it a little bit more. And trying to throw it through your target, but you just have to be creative. How do I feel about guys selling my autograph? Well, the fact that somebody wants to buy it makes me happy. So, new facility is awesome. I love being in there. Thoughts on using a broomstick, golf, wiffle ball for coordination? Yeah, so I think I've seen a lot of players do it. I've seen a lot of Dominican players use it. I think that you want to make things challenging, but not so challenging. So like sometimes I see really young players trying to use like really thin bats. They make training bats with like these small, training balls, and they just miss every single one of them, or they hit 1 out of 10. And that can be frustrating. So you want to make sure that you're balancing difficulty with struggling so much that they're going to get frustrated. How do I swing better? Well, Zeke, there's a lot of it is going to depend on what you're doing right now. But honestly, the easiest way for me to help you there is just to point you over to our YouTube videos, because I have a whole playlist on hitting mechanics, and not just on mechanics, but so that'll help your swing. But then there's swinging better, and then there's hitting better. And I usually start with building the swing first, but then you've got to be able to train hitting. And so I've got a bunch of videos on that you can probably spend the next year of your life watching videos on with them for 5 years. And then I went to the Orioles, or then I went to the Nationals, then I went to the Orioles, then I went to the Yankees, then I went to the Indians. Will asking a question about the recruiting process. So there's a lot that goes into the recruiting process. We could talk about this for hours. We do with our players. Again, I'm gonna send you over to our recruiting playlist. So I have another playlist which I think will really help you. The biggest things is you have to be proactive, and then to be proactive, you have to understand what you need to do. Right? That's creating a target list. That's crafting emails, putting together some type of video. And I explain all that stuff in our playlist. So definitely go and check that out maybe after this live talk. Christy asking about bunting, and your son is watching now. Tristan, what's going on, Tristan? So bunting is actually really interesting. So the art of bunting has kind of gone away. When it comes to like Major League Baseball, there's much less bunters. But I learned last year, being a head coach in high school, that the bunt can still be a huge weapon at the amateur level. And it's funny you say that. I was just watching a bunch of bunting videos today, and I'm going to put together a lot more bunting videos because although it's not the most popular subject, I do think it can be helpful for players. And not only just for fast players. If you're fast, if you can run, then it can really help. But even if you can't, it can still be used as a weapon. So I'm going to try to make a lot more videos on that. Give you a couple simple things right now, like super fast. And I don't know if I have any videos on bunting. I definitely need to get more on there. But think about connecting your eyes to the barrel. So we talk about, getting your eyes behind the barrel. So the closer I can get my eyes to the ball, the more success I'll have. Feeling like, I don't know if he's right-handed or left-handed, but a couple simple things like feeling like you're in your legs. So you're going to be basically, if I'm a righty, I'm going to drop my right foot back. I'm going to feel like I sink into my legs, almost like I'm going to put my knee to the ground. I'm not going to technically get that low, but that's what I'm going to feel. I'm going to feel like I'm going to get my chest over towards my left knee or my front knee. I'm going to get my eyes connected to the barrel. I'm going to split the bat in thirds. So my bottom hand's going to go up about a third, and then my top hand's going to go down about a third. So it's going to be like a third, a third, a third to my bottom hand, a third to my other hand, and a third to the top of the bat. And that's like some real simple stuff that you can think about that'll help. But I'll make a bunch of videos for you. Let me check real quick, see if we do not have any. So I just want to make sure if anyone sees one, let me know. I just want to make sure that I answer those. Let's see what else. How do I make better pitches, Matt? So it's a good question. I'll start with this. I think that the first thing is you want to start trying to master maybe a couple of pitches. So I think sometimes pitchers try to throw so many pitches and they're all kind of mediocre. So maybe pick 2 pitches and work on those 2 pitches. Your arm works and your arm slot and the way the ball comes off your hand. And there's a lot of things that go into it. So it's a little bit tough without seeing you throw. Again, we have a pitching playlist that talks about different changeup grips, different curveball grips, slider grips, tips for each of those pitches. So go through and watch those. Those should help you out. And just, again, don't go crazy and try to, I run into a lot of players who are like, oh, coach, I have 7 pitches. And all 7 of them are just, average to below average instead of having 2 or 3 that are above average. Let's see what else we have here. James Stewart, best way or program to get younger 9 to 11-year-old kids arm ready for upcoming season. So what we do, we have kids in that age range with our program. So our kids started throwing in December, and we throw 2 days a week. And so that's kind of the minimum that we'll throw is 2 days a week. We recommend to our players as they get closer to the season, they're going to begin to throw 3 days a week and even more if you can. One of the biggest things that I see with players is that they go into the season not having their arms prepared at all. And their arms hurt for some of them for the entire season because they go from no throwing to then throwing every single day. So we start slow. We literally start in December, and our season begins basically at the end of March, beginning of April. And we start in December, going 2 days a week, and it's very easy to start off. We're going, first few days is like 20 to 30 throws, and we go through some core drills. If you watch our videos, we talk about, if you go, I keep referencing all of our playlists, but if you go to our playlist, go to a season with Antonelli Baseball, you'll see us go in our winter workouts, and we go through our throwing progression. So we go what we call wrong foot forward. So if you're righty, put your right foot forward, and we go through those, and then we back up, and for our middle infielders, we go into some double play sidearm or lower arm slot feeds. You don't really have to do that. But then we slide back and we go into our fielding position, and we work on coming up, bring the ball to the middle and throwing, and then we work on shuffling and throwing, and then we work on quick catch. And so I've got the whole program on there. But the biggest thing is start off slow. Don't have to go crazy. I start with like 2 days. So there's no real secret to it. It's just you got to throw. And you can't wait until the season to start throwing, because at that point, you can't go from 0 to 100. You've got to slowly build your way up. And we have a couple of super chats, so let's put it on the board.
The ball hit high and deep. Catch at the wall. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.
All right. So first, Josh, DMV, thank you so much for the super chat. Matt, what happened to Afro Matt? That's a great question. So Afro Matt, I've been so busy that I have not had time. I haven't had any time to play video games lately. I've been giving lessons and practices and clinics, and we have hitting clinics, and we have catching clinics, and we have all kinds of, we have practices going on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sundays, and there's just so much stuff that by the time I get home, most nights I get home around 9:30, 9:45, and that's after, I'm not lying when I tell you, it sounds a little bit crazy, but at this time of year, I wake up at 7:30, get my kids off to school, I get back home usually around 8:30, and then I do work online until usually 2, and then I head to the facility, and then I'm at the facility from 2 to like 9:30ish, and then I head home. I get home at 10, and then I cook dinner, or if Laura made dinner, then I eat dinner. I take a shower, and by the time I'm all done with that, it's like almost midnight. And then I try to relax, and then I go to bed. Laura and I've been watching a lot of Sopranos. We've been trying to get through the entire from season 1 on. We were actually just watching it a few minutes ago once we put the kids to bed, because I am not at work today because I can't go because I'm sick. But those are my days. So it's like I have no time to play video games. This is crazy time of year when everyone's getting prepared for the season. So eventually he will be back. And we have another super chat.
The ball hit high and deep. Stretch at the wall. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.
All right. So thank you so much. 1-2 for the super chat. It's often said guys who are trying to make it are the hardest workers. Did you find minor leaguers on average harder workers than major leaguers? I've been around some super hard minor leaguers that work super hard, and I've been around major leaguers that work super hard. So I do think, and I'll also say this, I've been around some professionals at both levels that don't work super hard. So I think in order to get to professional baseball, you have to be a really hard worker. But once you get there, there's different types of hard work, right? Like I've seen some guys that are in the cages. You walk into the facility early in the morning and they were already there hitting, and they're the last guys to leave. Like you see incredible work ethics. I say the work ethic that I saw from major league players and pro players in general are some of the best work ethics I've ever seen. And it's not that I didn't see guys work hard in college or high school, but I think every level you go up, you see that it takes more work to be at that level, to be successful. So, what it takes to be a really good high school player, when you go to college, you have to do more. If you do the same at college that you did in high school, you won't be as good. And then you see that from college to pro ball, same thing. Like if the way you work in college, if you go to pro ball and you just continue to work that hard, you're not going to be good, because the players get better and better. And typically the higher you go in baseball, the more time you have that's dedicated to that sport. So as a high school player, right, you might only play 3 months out of the year, and you have class. And so, you practice a few hours a day for 3-4 months a year. And some players play more than that depending on where they live. In my area, Massachusetts, I played baseball and hockey and football and all these other sports. So but then you go to college, and then all of a sudden you become a one sport guy or girl. And so in college and it becomes more year round. So you're playing in fall ball, and you're training in the winter. You're playing in the spring, and then you play summer ball. So now you're doing it year round, but you still have classes, right? So you're still going to school. And then when you become a professional player, now there's no more school. So now it's like, this is your job, and this is all you're doing. And you're doing it, again, year round, but you don't go to class anymore. So you do it even more. So you just have to do it more and more. And like I said, if you want to be around, you have to do it, or else, you won't make it, because the players, in high school, you're trying to be one of the best players in your school. When you're trying to make the major leagues, you're trying to be one of the best players in the entire world. So you have to have a pretty good work ethic. And we have another super chat.
The ball hit high and deep. Stretch at the wall. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes.
All right, EJ Slent, thank you so much for the super chat. You're the man. I stopped a fist fight between two coaches at work after a first grade basketball game. Do you have any stories about coaches or parents getting physical? I do have a lot of stories about parents. By the way, could everyone give this video a thumbs up? I just thought about that. Let's try to get, let's give the video a like, try to get some more people in here. What do we got, like 60, 70 people in here right now? Not too bad. We're getting close to baseball season. Usually once we get to baseball season, we end up getting like 100, 200 people in the chat. My dad, actually, yesterday, I got a call from Chuck Sturdivant, who was the general manager in the Cape Cod of the Falmouth Commodores when I played there. Great guy. And we were talking a little bit, and I spoke to my dad afterwards, and I was like, oh, Chuck said to say hello, and we started talking about. I'll do a video with my dad actually. Maybe I'll do this. So my freshman year in the Cape, we were playing in the championship. You play a series, best of 3 series, and we ended up getting swept. And our manager, Coach Trundy, who's another great guy, he got thrown out of the game for a really bad call. And at the very end of the game, when we lost 2-0, so we got swept. The umpire that threw out Coach Trundy. He might have thrown out Coach DeCenzo. I'm not sure if he got tossed. But anyways, so as the guy's walking off the field, he did like a sweeping motion, the umpire did this to our team and coaches. He did like a sweeping motion, like you guys just got swept. And the next thing I know, my dad hopped out of the stands and he jumped over the fence and he chased the umpire down as they were walking off the field. So he didn't punch him, but I think he was about to punch him. I think it got broken up. So my dad could probably talk a lot about fights. He got into a lot of fights, a lot of Little League fights. Probably has the record for longest ejection in Peabody West Little League history. So anyways, I see a lot of crazy things. Emotions seem to run high at 8-year-old basketball and baseball games and stuff like that. So I try to keep I always keep my cool. I don't know if anything's ever going to happen where I would lose my cool watching a game. But we'll see. My son's 8 now, so I usually just sit in the stands, don't say anything. I'm the guy that likes to sit like by himself and just watch the game. It's probably because I coach so much, so that's my one time to just be able to sit and enjoy and watch him play. Oh, we got another super chat.
The ball hit high and deep. Stretch. At the wall. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.
All right, AZ Cats G. Thank you so much for super chat. Thank you, Matt, for all your awesome videos. It's great hearing your insight to the MLB and minor league baseball. Ever visit Peoria, Arizona again? I wish I could read. One thing, since I've been sick, so my wife and my daughter both tested positive for COVID, and I did not yet. Although I feel like I'm sick, but I haven't tested positive yet. But I have like brain fog. I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but like the last 2 days, like my brain is not working right. I'll be thinking of something and then I'll just be like, what was I thinking of again? And then I'm like watching a show and I'm like, I can't concentrate on things. And now I can't talk apparently. So I have not visited Peoria, Arizona since I left professional baseball. Laura and I talked about maybe getting the kids out there at some point to watch some spring training games, but my schedule is so crazy right now, it's tough to do. But I would like to go back to Arizona. I liked Arizona a lot. Let's see. What else do we have here? Sorry, got a lot of questions coming through. Hey, Blake, what's going on, Blake? My 2022 ADV broke the other day. I know. I thought your dad was going to beat you up with it, but he was just grabbing it because it broke, which you know of. But early at Anthony practice, my 2020 ADV cracked more. Yeah, you got a bunch of broken bats. I told you. I think it's all the steroids you're doing. You're too strong now. By the way, nice Griffey emoji or whatever you want to call that thing right there. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you should stop buying that bat because bats are breaking at a crazy, crazy rate. Like it's crazy. I think about 20 years ago, 25 years ago when I was in Little League. 25 years ago I was in Little League. Using these like crappy old bats. Those things never broke. Bats now, like $400 bats, they break like they're made out of paper mache. It's crazy. I don't know what to tell you, Blake, but I think I know you meant 2023 in that second bat, but I don't know. You might want to try a new bat. I'm thinking of trying out for the highest level around, but I think I wouldn't get much playing time. If I don't, I'd get to play at a lower level, high school, and have some free time advice. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what teams you're talking about, but I mean, the most important thing, you want to get playing time, obviously. Like when it comes to development, and it depends on what you want to do. Like, do you want to have fun? Do you want to get better? You said like, have some more free time and stuff. Like, it depends. Would you value more free time? there's different levels of play for everybody, and when it comes to whether it's high school ball or travel ball or anything, right? Like, what are the expectations? What's going to be asked of the player? And then, are you willing to put in that time or that sacrifice? Because it is a sacrifice you're going to have to be practicing. Making that decision is up to you. If you want to play at a high level, you're going to have to put in a lot more time. And, if you want to do that and you're willing to do that, that's awesome. And if you don't, then I'm not saying that's not awesome. That's up to you. But you got to think about it and see what you want to do. Like, for me, I knew like baseball was what I wanted to do in my life. So I was willing to sacrifice stuff and put in as much time as needed. Not saying that everyone wants to do that or should do that, because, they should do what makes them happy. That's what made me happy. So let's see. Who else do we have here? I'm a JUCO baseball athlete. What can I do the first year to hopefully move on? Jalen Sanders. Yeah, so I don't think anything really changes with you, Jalen. I think as a player, I was always thinking of whether I was at a 4-year college, or I didn't go JUCO, but, high school, summer ball, whatever. My thought is like, I literally think about, okay, how can I get better today? I just break the day. I would break it up into daily. The next level is for you. Maybe it's going from JUCO to a 4-year college. And if you do that enough days, then you'll continue to get better. That's the goal, just to get better. And if you get better each day, then you'll have a chance to move on. And if you don't get better, I mean, you still could move on, but you'll have a much better chance if you continue to get better. So that's my big thing to you. Have enough self-awareness and be able to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. If you don't know, then just ask your coach, and they should be able to tell you what you need to work on. Go Wags. What do you think is the best state with the best baseball? Go Wags. What would you want me to say? Pennsylvania? But Pennsylvania, I think, has got some good baseball. But, oh man, the best state with the best baseball, I don't know. I've been around the country. I've played in most states, and I've played with players from most states. And, all the warm weather states, you're going to find great players. You're going to find great players in Georgia and Florida and Texas and California. And not to say you won't find great players in other states, but those states where you can play baseball year round, they have a big advantage because they're playing all the time. I know that when I left Massachusetts and went to North Carolina to play in college, my game got way better because I got to play year round on a baseball field. So typically, what do you have to do when nature calls mid-game, especially when your name is almost up in the order? Well, if you're coming out the bat, you better hold it. And if you have to use the restroom, then you're going to do so when your team is on offense and you're not up for a while. So that's what you're going to do. Let's see here. Got a lot of questions to get through. Yeah, I don't know, Blake. Still, you went with the drop 10. Or you should have went with the drop 10 because it's more durable. I still don't think a bat should break that quickly. I mean, that's kind of crazy how quickly that broke. Any tips or drills to help stay inside and tight to the ball when hitting? Yeah, so there's a lot of things you can do, and it depends on your swing. We talk a lot about being in good posture. So if you come out of posture, right? So by posture, I just mean your spine angle. So you want to be slightly over the plate. I know you can't really see me do it very well right now, but like this would be straight up and down, spine vertical. So if my spine's vertical, I have more of a tendency to kind of want to pull off the ball like this. And so I have to stay in posture, and then I have to stay over the plate when I swing. And if I do that, then I'll typically start to stay inside the ball better. So that's just one quick tip. Again, we make tons. Cole, will I be making more videos about what it's like in the pros? I know you covered a lot, but that is the best series. Yeah, so I covered that. I made so many videos on that for so long, and I feel like I covered every topic that, now when I make videos about the same topics, people are like, you already talked about that. I'm like, yeah, I talked about it like 6 years ago. I can talk about it again, and maybe I'll remember a new story. So I will do that for you, Cole. Thank you for that. I'm glad you enjoy those. Let's see. Roy says, Matt, I have an 11-year-old son, lefty, who loves first base, but coach keeps putting him at third. Should I say anything? It is a competitive little league in SoCal. Yeah, but a lefty putting him at third, that's interesting. I don't know. Um, I mean, my son's lefty. They put him at short, and I know he's not going to play short when he's older. But I just say, have fun. I would. I'm just trying to think. It's like I got to know. I feel like I always say this, but I really want to know. Like, I have to be there and see it to really know. I usually try to say, like, let the coaches coach and don't get too involved. At least that's what I try to do right now. My son's, again, only 8. He's not 11. And I usually say let the player kind of talk to the coach, but again, he's only 11. He might not feel comfortable talking to a coach. So, if a parent if a parent had an issue with the positions that they're playing, then I would tell the parent, yeah, I guess you can reach out to the coach and ask if you can talk to them. I would have your son there during the talk and just, because eventually he will at some point have to have a conversation with the coach. You can just talk to him and just see, get an understanding of why he's playing him over there. But let's see. Oh, I missed a couple super chats. Sorry, everybody. Let's see what we got right there. We've got, where is it? Oh, actually, I already read it. It came in a super chat a few minutes later. But here, I still got to go with, you can put it on the board.
The ball hit high and deep. Stretch. At the wall. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so, and Roy, thank you for the super chat. So, you stated your question a little differently in the super chat, which is 11U lefty son loves first base, but is at third base per coach. Why? So again, I don't know why. My guess is he feels he's the best option over there. Here, let me give you a quick perspective, because I coached 11U last year. So every player comes up to me usually and says they love shortstop. And, I can't play everyone at shortstop. And so we play probably, but again, you can have the conversation with the coach and he can let you know why that is. Oh, we got another super chat. Guys, I need to come up with, and girls, I need to add another.
The ball hit high and deep. Stretch. At the wall. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.
Okay, Evan, thank you so much for the super chat. When you're on a tight budget as a minor league player, what are the best meal tips to stay healthy and play at your best? Well, Evan, you want to know the truth? There are none. When I think about my days in the minor leagues, if I had to live off of my minor league salary for food, I was not going to be eating healthy. So I lived off my signing bonus, thankfully. It's really hard to eat healthy in the minors back in the day. They're doing a much better job of it now, providing food. And I'd like to make some videos. I'll actually ask, now that I'm sick, I can't do it. But so when I played and what happens now, and it's so different, I'd like to make some more videos on some of the changes so we can talk about what it was like, 10 years ago versus now. When I played, it was a lot of fast food. They didn't provide very many meals at all. When they did provide meals, it was peanut butter and jelly mostly. So, players got paid way less when I played, and their meal money was much less. So we were eating at McDonald's and Burger King and really eating crap. And I got lucky that, I still ate like crap even though I got a large signing bonus, because you're on the road a lot. And a lot of times you're in these towns that, like, there's no food. The bus would take you and drop you off, and it'd be a Taco Bell, a McDonald's, a Burger King, and a Wendy's. And that was it. And luckily for me, I can eat kind of crappy food and not put on a lot of body. And I'm not even going to lie and say that I tried. I didn't eat very healthy. But I was lucky again and could eat chicken nuggets from McDonald's and be fine. We got another super chat.
The ball hit high and deep. Stretch. At the wall. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me talking now? Okay. Sorry about that. I just realized on this scene right here, that's my old scene that I had with my old microphone. So I have it on the new one now. Yeah, so my mistake. I did not update that scene with my new microphone. So I know you can't see it right now, but I have this new mic that I've been using. So what about 90? But there's no sound. Okay, lots of buffering, huh? Is there anyone else experiencing buffering issues? Got to improve my Wi-Fi, I guess. Let's see, what else? So a lot of people are experiencing buffering, huh? Well, that's not good. I gotta check why gotta find out why it's buffering so much. All right, back to answer some questions here. So let's see. Were you on high school varsity as a freshman? So I started my freshman year on JV for baseball, and then I got called up, and then I ended up starting in the playoffs, and we ended up winning the state championship actually that year. That's the last year that our high school, or that my high spring of 2000. So it's been now 22 going on 23 years since the last state championship. Hey coach, I'm a shorter baseball player, and I was wondering what you would recommend for a hitting approach like leg kick, stride, no stride. Thanks. Yeah, so I think everyone has a personal preference or has a stride that works best for them, and I don't know if it matters so much on size. So for me, I was having this talk actually a couple nights ago because if you saw the video I put up lately, I think it was like maybe like 4 or 5 days ago. I put a video up of me hitting for the first time in a long time with a metal bat, and I was messing around trying to hit 100 mile an hour exit speed, and I went with a very small short stride, and that's the way I typically hit in 2006 and 2007, my first years in pro ball. And then the Padres kind of wanted me to stand up taller, feet closer together, bigger stride. I never really felt comfortable with it, and they thought I'd hit for more power, and I'm not really sure why they want me to do it, but I feel more comfortable being low to the ground, feet a little bit wider, less of a stride. Someone that's the exact same size as me might not like that at all. So I don't like to try to push a certain stance or stride on a player. I think the biggest thing is you need to be get in the hitting position on time, so you can get your swing off when you want to get it off. And everyone's different. I think that messing around with stride length and stride type. If things aren't working, then yeah, go for it. If things are working, I wouldn't mess around with it. And there's players that, the way that they get loaded, right? Whether they take a bigger leg kick, maybe that allows them to get loaded in a different way than not taking a leg kick. And, you've seen guys like Jose Bautista go from, struggling to then all of a sudden he started to get ready a lot earlier, had a bigger leg kick, kind of, I made a couple videos actually on it, but that really helped him. Other players, like an Albert Pujols back in the day who was very wide, like, foot didn't come off the ground much, like Paul Goldschmidt doesn't stride very much at all. Like, I'm not going to take those guys and say, yeah, you got to take a bigger leg kick. So sometimes people feel like players think, oh, if I move more, I can get more, momentum and be able to create more bat speed and, almost like a Dustin Pedroia used to do. But again, I've seen smaller players hit really well without a big leg, but it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty professional. Hopefully it sounds good. Have I seen the video on YouTube of you making the final out of Trevor Hoffman's final save as a Padre? Really? I have not seen that, Seth. That's on YouTube. If you have the link, will you send it to me? If you can find the YouTube video, if you can email it to me, that'd be great. Matt@AntonelliBaseball.com. My favorite baseball player of all time, probably Manny Ramirez. Love watching him. I grew up a Red Sox fan. All right, could everyone give the video a like again? That'd be awesome if you could. Let's see here. We're going to do about 15 more minutes or so, and then I'm going to go. I told Laura I would go back, and I told her to pause The Sopranos. So I'm going to go back and finish watching that episode with her. I don't know what she's watching right now. I told her to watch a different show while I came and spoke with all of you. How did Barry Bonds hit so well with that bat wiggle? Yeah, so a lot of players, well, I don't want to say a lot of players, but Bonds kind of had this. You've had players that have hitches like a David Ortiz. So the biggest thing is if you're going to do that, you have to do it early enough. Like, there's been times where like Javi Baez does a bat tip, but sometimes he'll do it too late. And then, you have to rush to get back here. So you've got to, most players are going to have a little bit of this going on in their swing. Not everybody, and some are more drastic than others. You had Gary Sheffield back in the day that was doing this. Again, you got to do it early enough. The bat is always, we talk a lot about the bat working back. So some players will tip it forward and then it will work back in the opposite direction. Again, you do not have to do that. There's plenty of players that don't do that. But the key is if you are going to do it, you have to do it early enough. And again, you've got to have pretty good bat speed. If you've got a really slow bat, then you really can't afford to go. Think about some of those guys that are doing the really big bat tips. And if you think about back in the day, it's like getting the bat started. You had these big, huge, heavy bats, and so you have to, getting the object in motion essentially. Like an object in motion will stay in motion. So like trying to get like some momentum going, you get it going and then go versus just being from a complete standstill. It's funny, I actually personally hit better when I'm just kind of in a standstill and I just load here, boom, and I go. That's how I hit better. I've messed around with this. I messed around with this 1 year in the Cape. My second year in the Cape, I messed with that. I didn't hit as well. So everyone's different. Let's see here. I got a lot of questions. Did I play third base in the state championship? No, I played right field actually. So I played left. When I came up as a freshman, they put me in the outfield. So I played left field for most of the playoffs, and then in the championship game, I started in right field. No, Joe. So I talked earlier, like training with like skinnier bats, broomsticks. I've seen it all. I don't know if it'll mess it up. I'm trying to think if I would do it like right before a game. I don't know if I would do it right before a game, but if players use different, so what we do, we use different bat weights, we use different bat lengths as part of our training. And so I think that, and this isn't just me, they've done studies that show that if you use different size instruments, then if you're switching it up throughout a workout, then players are able to they're typically able to feel get a better feel for their swing, what their body's doing, but then also allows them to actually then take the normal bat, whatever your normal bat is, and you should be able to control that bat better, whatever it is we're trying to do, whether we're trying to fix your bat path, well, typically which is the case. So again, sometimes people think like, oh, I only want to swing my game bat and that's all I want to swing, so I get really used to swinging it. But you actually get better at kind of solving problems. If you think about hitting is really about just solving like I talk to our players all the time. It's, you've got these equations when you're facing different types of pitchers. Pitchers that throw hard, pitchers that throw slow, pitchers that throw 3/4 over the top, right? So you get all these different not math problems, but these problems, these equations, and how good at you would solve you to be able to kind of make adjustments easier and be able to adapt to different pitchers and different pitch types and all that stuff. So I actually think training with different instruments can help you. Let's see. Sorry, I rambled on there a little bit. If I could teach just one hitting fundamental, what would it be? Load, stance, bat path, extension. So I think bat path is really important. We just actually talked to our hitters. So I don't think there's only one you can do. So we talked to our hitters at our hitting clinic. We have an 8-week hitting clinic going on. And I talked to them about like the 3 things that we're working on in this clinic. I said the first one is bat speed, because without bat speed, you can't play at a certain level, right? If you want to play at a high level, you have to have bat speed. You don't see anyone play in the major leagues that can't swing fast. But swing fast isn't the only thing. So you got to have bat speed, but you also have to have an ability to hit the ball, bat the ball skills. That there's a bunch of things that come into that. Hand-eye is one thing, but bat path is a huge part of that. If you don't have a really good bat path, then it's more difficult to hit the ball. There's some players that actually don't have great bat paths in the major leagues, but they're still able to hit. I would say most players in the major league fall under pretty good bat path. I see some really bad bat paths when I see youth players play. It's just because they're younger and they're a low level. But that's another thing, right? So you have bat speed, you have bat path or bat the ball skills, and then the third one is swing, being able to read the pitch and recognize the pitch and decide, am I going to swing or am I not going to swing? So like all those things, you can't just have one. If you just have bat speed, you won't be a good hitter. If you just have good bat path, you won't be a good hitter. If you just make good swing decisions, you won't be a good hitter. You have to have all 3 to be really good. So it's hard to say like, well, what would be the one thing you would teach? Yeah, my pack opening, my card openings, I used to do those a ton, and then that was during kind of like COVID when everything shut down, and then I've gone away from that just because I've been so busy. What's harder, getting the pro ball or being able to stay playing pro ball? Being able to, the hardest thing can name, like players that have been in the big leagues for a long time, those players are so incredibly good because it's so hard to stay there. And people kind of take that for granted. Like, when you have guys that have played like, 6, 7, 8, 9 years in the big leagues, that's unbelievable. Because every player that gets to the big leagues, every year, think about how many players are being drafted and signed to take your spot. How many players are developing in the minors to take your spot. So in order to continue to kind of fend off all these players from taking your spot, you have to be so good. Because they're literally constantly trying to get someone better than you. Teams are trying to replace you basically every year. That's their goal, is let's get a better team. Let's try to find better players. And they know they're not going to replace every player, obviously, but they're going to replace a lot of players. They're trying to get better players at every position. So in order to stay there is really, really difficult. Blake, I would agree with you. Griffey is awesome. I still like Manny a little bit more, though, but Griffey was awesome. So was Soto. My son is 2 months old. How to know if he has a shot at the bigs? When I have a picture of my son when he was probably 2 months old. I'll have to find it. I have a picture of him, and he's got a Wake Forest bat, and he's holding it left-handed. You can tell by the way he's holding the thing. He's gonna be in the big leagues. He actually also had a shirt. What did his shirt say? I think it said #1 draft choice, I think. Actually, what's funny? My mom actually put it out on my draft day. So I had a similar picture when I was probably like 1 or 2 months old. I was very little. And I have a picture of me just laying on the ground. And I have a shirt on that says, I think it said #1 draft choice or something like that. So then when I got picked in the first round, my mom had it. I think my mom had it in a frame, and like she put it in like this little frame. It's kind of funny. He was 9 pounds and 99 percentile in height. Well, that's pretty good. My son and daughter were both the same thing. My daughter was 9 pounds 9 ounces, I think. Yeah, she was almost 10. She was getting close to 10 pounds. She was huge. And my son wasn't as big. He was tall. He was like 99 percentile on everything except for weight. He was 8 pounds 4 ounces, which I was 8 pounds 4 ounces as well. So we were the same weight. And my wife was 8 pounds 4 ounces, I believe. I think all three of us were the exact same weight. Approach on deck. So I have a 13-minute video. If you go on either our Antonelli Baseball or Antonelli Softball channel and just type in on deck routine, my video should pop up. And I talk about exactly what to do in the on deck circle. So instead of me saying 13 minutes worth of stuff here, definitely go watch that video. If your kid cannot hit home runs by 5, switch to soccer. I actually hit my first home run when I was 12. So I never did track and field. I would have liked to have done it if I wasn't playing other sports. Hey, Country Diecast, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoy my videos. And I'm glad they help. Eagles or Chiefs, who will win? So I already put my pick in. And I'm going with the Eagles. And I'll give you 5 seconds why, because I know this isn't the Chiefs are pretty beat up right now. The only reason I was a little skeptical is because of Patrick Mahomes. That was it. Because I am scared of him. But here's my prediction. I could be right. I could be wrong. I'm usually pretty good with picking football games. Anyone that follows our channel, I'm pretty successful. But here's what I see happening. I think that the Eagles' defensive line is going to eventually be a little too much for the Chiefs' offensive line. I don't think it's going to be like the Super Bowl a few years ago with the Bucs and the Chiefs, where the Chiefs were totally depleted offensive line and Mahomes was like under attack the entire game. I don't think it'll be exactly like that because I think this Chiefs' offensive line is a little bit better. They're not injured as much, but I still don't think that I don't think their offensive line is good enough. I think the Eagles' defensive line is incredible, and I think they have a ton of depth, and I think they're going to pressure the crap out of them. And again, I know that his ankle, they said high ankle sprain, but then it couldn't have been a high ankle sprain because the guy played and he was maybe hobbling a little bit, but who comes back in a week on a high ankle sprain and plays and moves around that well? But anyways, I still think that the offensive line is going to be too much. Or the defensive line is going to be too much for their offensive line. And I think the Eagles' offense, with Hurts being able to run and their run game, but then also them being able to pass off of that, I think the Chiefs' defense is fine, but I don't think it's great. So unless like Chris Jones and Frank Clark are unblockable like they kind of were against the Bengals and they get a strip sack or something crazy happens, I'm going to go with the Eagles. That's going to be my pick. And I'm actually quite upset because every year I put a friendly wager on who's going to win the Super Bowl, and I've gotten it right. I've gotten it right a lot. So last year, and I do this before the season every year. Last year, I picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl, and I got that right. The year before that, I picked the Bucs to win the Super Bowl, and I got that right. And then I had, I'm having a mental block now. I'm getting my years all mixed up now. Who won the year before that? Was that the Chiefs year against the 49ers? I did not have that right. And then I had the Patriots for a bunch of years. I've been pretty successful at picking the Super Bowl winner. And long story short, this year, I was going to pick the Eagles. And I didn't because I picked the Patriots because I wanted to cheer for the Patriots because they're my favorite team. But I was going to pick the Eagles, and I was going to pick them not because I really thought they were going to win the Super Bowl. I thought they had a chance to be the number one seed because their schedule was so bad, and I thought that I didn't think Hurts was going to be this good. That was my mistake. I did like their pickups. I liked Brown trade, and I thought they were going to be really good. I did not. Jalen Hurts, but they were going to be my pick, and I should have just done it. I didn't do it. Anyways, I like talking football. Okay. Oh, we got another super chat.
The ball hit high and deep. Catch at the wall. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.
Anyone that was with the Padres back then is not with the Padres anymore. At least I don't think anyone else. I don't think anyone is. My manager was Buddy Black. He's gone. Is Glenn Hoffman still over there? So maybe they're. I don't know if Glenn's still there or not. But obviously all the players are gone because I'm old now. So I have no more connections with the Padres. Let's see. I'll answer a couple more questions, and I'm going to go watch some TV for a little bit. I do still have a little bit of a headache. I've been super tired the last couple of days, and my head is starting to hurt a little bit right now. Peter, I'll do that for you. I'll make a blocking video. Best place to go on a date in Peabody. Man, I don't know if I've taken many dates to Peabody. I haven't been on a date in a long time. Laura will. Actually, no, me and Laura go on date nights. So, but I don't usually go to Peabody. Where do we go to date nights? We go to Polana. Good steakhouse. Get a good steak there. Yeah, Beaver Break says smash that like button. Thank you. Please, everyone, do that. Blake, hopefully you can hit your first home run this year. Hey, Jordy. Jordy Nelson had a great NFL career. Let's see. The Sand Padre uniform you used to play in. I actually have my Sand Padre uniform. I think it's pretty cool. Does Brady unretire? I would say no, but then again, I don't know. Maybe he gets the itch to play again. He could. I have two sons that aren't big. Does that hurt them playing at the higher level? Yeah, I think. Listen, I've played with some great players that are not big. I think the majority of like major league players, if you look at the average size of them, they're all quite big, especially pitchers. But that doesn't mean that you can't play. It just means you're at a little bit of a disadvantage. But, I've played. Like I said, I've played with a lot of smaller players. Let's see. Any tips on how to run faster? I'm quite slow. So running, if you want to run faster, you got to run fast. So sprinting, doing sprint work, getting stronger. I'm not the best person to ask. There's people that specialize in this stuff, but no, I think improving your running form, literally just running and doing more sprint work. A lot of people don't do sprint work enough, so you should be doing a couple days a week of sprint work. And then working in the weight room to get stronger, more explosive. Let's see here. Antonelli's Cheese Shop. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not in Peabody, but. My son struggles on making solid contact. What tips do you have? So it really depends. A lot of times, for me, not making solid contact usually comes down to bat path. So I would look at his path. I would watch our videos on bat path, go to our hitting playlist. And it'll explain the importance of path and what your path should be and why that improves your ability to hit the ball more consistently. But there could be a lot of things. It could be, the position that he's in when he is, and this affects your path a lot of times, but it could be the position that you're getting into when it's time to hit. He could be late. He could be, shifting into his front side too early or lunging. So we call it not controlling your weight, which makes it difficult to make solid contact. So there's a lot of things. So recruiting accounts. So I think it is. I think having a profile is important. So it's important that if you can have a profile. Speaking of that, I actually have to get on top of that with our 17U team because it's about the time that we have to get going with profile. So I'll probably do that tomorrow. Let me actually make a note on that. Thank you for reminding me of that. But I do need to do that with our players. Okay. But yeah, I think you want to have something that you can send college coaches to. It doesn't have to be a profile. You can just, put it in an email and put your video and your grades and all that stuff. But one thing a profile does is it kind of puts everything in one place. So a coach can go to your profile and see your information, see your grades, and then see your video. Instead of having to try to, go through emails and find stuff and all that. Was I close with Trevor Hoffman? No, he was like way older than me. Super nice guy, and I've talked to him plenty of times. But he was a lot older than me. But I would say out of every player on the Padres, the veteran players, they usually talk about like, oh, did anyone take you under their wing and all that stuff. The thing when I got called up, we had a ton of young players. So I wouldn't say he took me under his wing, but I would say he definitely, out of all the veterans, made the biggest effort to just literally to talk to me. Really, really, really nice guy. What's your prediction for 2023 Fenwick baseball? Oh, did you? Yes, I am. So I predict good things for Fenwick baseball in 2023. That's what I predict. You're welcome, New Orleans Saints. And how about Sean Payton going to the Broncos? What impact will NIL have on youth and travel baseball? I don't know what it'll have on youth and travel. I know that it has a big effect on college baseball, which I guess in turn has an effect on travel baseball. It makes it more difficult to play, and in college baseball, that it gets more difficult for pro teams to sign high school players because some players are getting these NIL deals that are making them go to college when typically they'd go in the draft, but instead they're getting paid to go play college. They go play college and get drafted after that. So it's limiting the amount of players amount of high school players that colleges they were. I should say it's increasing the amount of high school players going to college. You ready to watch a show? Laura doesn't feel good. That's not good. Glenn Hoffman was my coach. Yes, great guy. Okay, everyone. So I got my last super chat right here. Let's see. Jake, did I say that was a super chat when I answered that question for you? I don't know if I did or not, but I appreciate the super chat. And we have another super
Ball hit high and deep. Catch at the wall. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.
Okay, Seth, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you think the Pirates have had a good offseason? I'm not going to lie to you, Seth. I haven't followed a darn thing the Pirates have done. The Pirates, sometimes I forget they're in Major League Baseball. I hope they do well, but they have not done well, and I have not watched the Pirates play in quite some time, and I'm sorry about that. But I'll do some research for you on that. As we get closer to the season, as we get closer to spring training, I'll start to get into Major League Baseball mode, but right now I've been so busy with our own teams that I have not done that. So let's see. I think that's all. I got one more question here. Guessing you played competitive baseball as a kid, how many games a year did you play? And was there any players that you played with as a pro that didn't play competitive travel baseball? Travel baseball when I was a kid was much more rare. I think there was only like 7 teams in the state of Massachusetts, maybe less than that. Might have been 5 teams in our state. Now there's 500, maybe more than that actually. So yeah, so I played competitive baseball. I played travel baseball. You guys can see this right here, that right there. By the way, you know how I got that? Pretty dumb of me. I had a hack attack that was spinning. The wheel was spinning 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it was on the ground. We're using it for ground balls, and I thought it was a great idea to grab the machine and try to move it, which I do all the time. But when I tried to move it like this, my hand went like that, and I had batting gloves on, and it ripped right through my batting glove and cut my knuckle off. So yeah, so I did play travel baseball. I thought it really helped me. I've talked a lot about my philosophy, not my philosophy, it's really my dad's philosophy, to try to play with and against the best players I could play with, to play travel baseball. But I did, and it really, really helped me improve my play. So, Blake, no, it was not your machine. It was the other hack attack. I don't think your machine, the wheels, I don't think are going. It's going pretty fast, but it was a giant hack attack. The huge wheels took my hand off. So, anyways, everyone, thank you so much for everyone hanging out tonight. Thank you to all of you for your super chats. I hope you all have a great night. It's 10:30. I'm going to go watch a little bit of The Sopranos if Laura is not. Talk to you all again next time. Keep an eye out. I was trying to do these like once a week, but then I got really busy, so I'll do my best again. If everyone could give the video a like one more time before you leave, that would be terrific. And that's all I have. Hopefully I'm feeling better soon and back to work, and hopefully you all have a good night and a good weekend coming up. We will talk to y'all later.